This is what women and other wonderful humans want. With questions asked by a guy. And now, here is your host, John, or as we call him around here, Hi There Catsuit.
Hello there, Nookie, and welcome to the show. And today we celebrate a very special anniversary. 10 years ago, this woman began a journey to get into people's minds and take them on beautiful trips through hypnosis as we meet the talent behind the voice. And I think you'll be entranced too. Many fans of online erotic hypnosis may well have first discovered this pleasure for the very first time by listening to Jacqueline Powers. Files like Slave Hypnosis, Hands-Free Pleasure, Red Hot Trigger, or maybe through her extremely popular Mind Hacker series. At some point in our lives, many of us find we need to just take a short little break from reality to safely check out, just for a while, floating in the mindless pleasure of a super relaxing hypnotic trance. Others enjoy hypnosis as a way to experience fantasies that maybe they're hesitant to try in real life. Trance can be a safe space to experiment under the guiding control of a confident hypnotist. Intrigued by the allure and mystery of hypnosis from a young age, Jacqueline Powers enjoyed the fantasy of being the hypnotized victim brought in the spell of a powerful hypnotist, surrendering to the blank and empty, mindless bliss of hypnosis. She only discovered that her true calling was to be on the other side of the pocket watch when another hypnotist encouraged her to try recording some sessions. When Jacqueline posted her first few videos on YouTube, the audience response was utterly overwhelming, with tens of thousands of views. More than that, Jacqueline found that being the one in control, dropping her hypnotized victims into a mindless haze, was even more intoxicating than being the role of the hypnotized victim. She found her superpower, and the rest is history. Her YouTube hypnosis channel has amassed over 17 million views in the first few years, but somewhere along the way, Jacqueline Powers seemed to disappear. Most thought she was gone for good. This month, it will be 10 years to the day Jacqueline Powers' YouTube hypnosis channel was born. And this year, Jacqueline has returned to the scene and started recording again. You can find her early files on YouTube and her new files on her Patreon channel. We'll have the links in the show notes. Here now, Jacqueline Powers on what women and other wonderful humans want.
It's 5 questions about memorable firsts. We call it the First 5.
First time you ever heard a voice that captured your imagination?
Oh. Okay, well, it has to be when I first got introduced to hypnosis, because that opened up my mind and my imagination to what the words were saying.
What was it like to do your first hypnosis file on YouTube?
Well, at that time, I didn't have the computer and microphone that I have now, the studio mic and all that. I was working with, I believe it was just one of the first iPhones at the time, because we're talking about 10 years ago. So it was that. And I think I had a spare laptop that I was using. So what was it like? I don't know. It was very secretive. It wasn't something I was kind of was hiding or keeping it to myself. I was making sure to keep it on the hush hush, keeping it from family, very quiet, but I would do it and explore it on my own. So I started hypnosis just as soon as I started my channel. It wasn't so much before I had the interest in hypnosis and mind control for many years, but I'm getting lost in my words here.
But wait a minute, aren't we supposed to be getting lost in your words?
Well, that's true. And that's another thing. When I used to listen to my own voice, I used to get lost in myself just listening to this, because I have to edit just as you do for your show. So I discovered my own hypnotic voice, how effective it was by listening back.
First time you ever got a comment or some communication back to you that your hypnosis was successful and it made a difference in their lives?
Oh, right away, within the first year of recording, I was getting these emails from my listeners that were telling me I had such a profound effect on them and their peace of mind, and giving them a safe place to explore something different in themselves. So it was right away in the first year, and people just giving me these heartfelt emails telling me their feelings and thoughts. So that was right away. And I still get that. And I love those fan mails when they just put their heart out there and tell me things. It does touch me, my heart as well. So
first time when you realized you had hit 1 million views?
Well, I think it happened as far as 2015 or 16, one of those years, where it just happened. And it was just, I was just beside myself. And especially with some of those videos themselves just started gaining huge numbers. So it's not just the channel, it's individual videos can be so popular. And so, yeah, I'm surprised by it as well, John.
First time you knew it was time to come back?
Oh, this is going to be, this is something. Okay. I knew it was time to come back because I had departed for my own reasons. I departed because my own offline life, I needed to give that attention. But I was gone from my listeners, but I wasn't gone because I was also checking in. I was also looking at the emails and messages from people and the comments. And it started to really hit me when I kept seeing over and over these messages and emails asking me, are you still here? Are you gone? Even to the point they said, did you, I wonder if you died or not. And that just pained me. It made me so incredibly sad. And I just had enough of that kind of email or response, because they were saying how much they missed me and how much they think of me and how they're hoping that I'm okay. And after so many, and it was many of those kind of things, I felt the need. I just needed to come back. Not like with a personal agenda. It was basically these people needed to know, and I wanted them to know that, yes, I'm still here.
And when we come back on What Women and Other Wonderful Humans Want, we're going to talk the art of hypnosis with Jacqueline Powers when we return. Welcome back to the program. So proud to be joined by Jacqueline Powers, who has a YouTube channel with some of her original hypnosis videos and files, and also her new videos and files are on her Patreon channel. and it's so good to have her back after a little bit of an absence. I want to talk, Jackie, about the art of hypnosis. As a person who is an improviser, but also a writer, I am trying to figure out how it goes from the mind to the page to the verbiage to inside someone's mind. How do you start to do a hypnosis reading?
Well, okay, I can tell you, basically, it's an invitation from you to me to allow me to give you an experience. So that's where you start, is that a real hypnosis session is going to be with the permission of the subject.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to be willing. I mean, we could talk about mind control, but the real true hypnotic experiences, they're going to be more of a willing subject. Maybe some of them experience some resistance, but some part of them has to be wanting to experience this. So you start by that, by asking them to choose to want to experience this hypnosis. It's a choice. And I always say to make that choice to let me in. So that's where we begin, is from there.
And when you see people in person, I'm sure that it's off the top of the head, but when you do your files, are you doing it as an ad lib, or have you written a set of bullet points that you want to go towards, or how does it all come about?
It's when it's on my channel, it's written up. It's written up. Either I or my other writers that have helped me will, write it down. There's some sessions, some files that are based on my Skype sessions that I've done. And so we'll take that, transcribe it into it. So it's based on true sessions, some of that, especially when it comes to the slave files or, the more kinkier ones. Yeah.
And I know that it always starts with an induction if you're going to go through a series where you have to prepare your mind for the reception of the words. How important are those words to be able to set the table for what can come?
Well, the words, how important they are. Well, they're important that you listen to them.
Right.
That's so to set the table, as you said, I basically ask you to focus on what I'm saying. So, because if I don't have your full focus, those words won't have that much of an impact on you. And words translate to feelings, and whatever I say will become sensations and whatnot. So that's why it's important to listen to the words. Like in one of my recent files, I've said, for instance, just me simply saying for you to imagine an orange, and already the image, maybe the scent comes to mind. So words automatically affect you, whether or not you're ready for it, whether or not you feel that you're actively participating in it. It's natural to let words affect you, and it plays on memories. So yeah, words need to be heard, need to be listened to, and you need to focus on it.
The follow-up to that is words are important, but also the way they're delivered.
Yes.
You have a certain meter to you, and I have to tell you that just listening to you give answers puts me kind of in a situation where I'm like, wait a minute, am I listening to a file? Or like you said, imagine an orange, and I found myself, Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm doing an interview.
I need to, do I need to tone it down?
No, I think it's beautiful.
Okay. Well, that is wonderful that no matter what the situation, I'm effective. So you want to talk about the delivery.
Mm-hmm.
That is even more important. For me, opinion-wise, my opinion, the delivery of the words is more important than the very word of itself.
Mm-hmm.
My hypnotic style, everybody has, every test out there has their different style. For me, I find that I like to lean into my vocal abilities. And so, and I've had people describe my voice and what it does. Myself, I just know that uh, as in any kind of musical thing, and I've had musical experience in my youth, you can just emphasize certain phrases and words that you feel that is of importance, or you want the listener to particularly listen to. That's the words that you want to take your time speaking. And particularly, and this is a nice tip for anybody who's interested in becoming a hypnotist or has a developing interest in it, is I'm going to say is focus on action words. The way you speak it, or what you're asking your subject to listen to, is the word you want to linger on, like the word listen, or hear, or think. See how those are words that are action words? So for me as a vocalist, hypnotist, I will linger on the words that I want them to do, the directions. I'll make sure that it's nicely pronounced.
Enunciation being absolutely key to it.
Yes.
You're going to hear something that hopefully, I mean in the greatest of compliments, but it also goes through my mind as well. The meter in which you speak sometimes reminds me of a William Shatner soliloquy.
Okay.
In that, you have certain times that you say things that go fast, but then go very slow.
I get you. I get you. And when I listen back to myself, sometimes I do hear William Shatner. I do. I have had that thought before.
But the way you do speak does capture the mind because, and I can only relate this to a kink scene, when many kink scenes, you might be bound in one position, but the most intense kink scene I ever had was one where I was never in one position for any one time. And therefore, I was never in control of being able to think that, oh, I can get through this part. No, it switched up on me now. And the way your words hit my ears and go into my mind do that exact same thing. Is that on purpose?
I would say no, it's not on purpose. It's just a nice accident that it happens to be that way. But no, I think that also makes for great files, is to keep it changed up a bit here and there. You go through, well, I mean, every file seems to have parts to it. Of course, standard, intro, induction, there's the meat of it, the middle, and the final part of it. But in between, you do kind of turn it up, and you just keep the mind wondering, even unless it's in the nice mindless state, then the mind doesn't wonder at all. It's just blank.
For those who are resistant or haven't figured out a way to give themselves permission, which is where I fall in. I don't know what it is other than the fact that my main kink is to be stuck in a moment I can't get out of, meaning being in a moment. And the first time I listened to your files on YouTube was towards the end of my marriage, when I knew it wasn't going well and my mind was always in a state of turmoil. And the gift that you gave me, Jackie, was a time when I could simply just be and listen and take inventory of what my body was doing, the relaxing part, the concentration of listening to the headphones and having your voice go through my mind instead of just hearing something. I have to tell you, you got me through a huge part of my life that was difficult. So I at least want to say thank you, but also tell you that what you do, you may never know the impact that you have for people who are just looking for that moment to stop the tornado in their mind and be able to just be.
Well, isn't that a gift in itself, what you've just given me? Because I didn't tell you, but I myself can relate so much to what everything you just said. My going into hypnosis came in a time when I was going through things, and I was going through my struggles around me and the lack of peace in my life, and just wanting that peace and just needing some quietness. And I just did not want to think at all because there was just too much going on. And so I went and discovered hypnosis. And that's how I got into hypnosis, looking for some peace. And hearing you say that gives me such joy in my heart, because it means to me that I've paid it forward.
Absolutely.
Thank,
And
thank you for sharing that with me.
I'm happy to, and I'm proud to. The one thing that has, I'll call it bothered, or just puzzled me, is the fact that I want to go deep. I want to enjoy trance. And because my mind has the tornadoes that it does, and although it got a little bit better after my divorce and being able to live as my authentic self, it still has this control factor of not letting go. Any suggestions?
Okay, well, I can give you some suggestions, but there's more to that for each individual that come into play. And like, I can't, I'm just basing it off what you've told me, but there could be more to it. Maybe not you, but an other individual might be dealing with other things. I've maybe mental health. I'm not saying you, I'm saying other people have come to me about this, and they have their issues. Like one gentleman I know, he was dealing with schizophrenia, and there's other factors that could be in play there. Now for yourself, if you're just your average Joe, with no issues, I would say basically get yourself into that mindset by setting the stage, or the scene, if you will. So making sure you're in a comfortable position, making sure that you're in comfortable clothing, making sure the lighting is just right and not in your eyes. And so tune down distractions. And so now once you do all that, that's why I like to try to quiet my subjects' minds as much as possible. It may seem like I like to go for complete mindlessness, but the reason for that is because that's when you can truly experience it. So I like to do maybe 3 times over, just trying to quiet their mind. So patience in the process. Try to will yourself to relax and enjoy the experience. Don't overthink it. People's own thoughts get in the way. Try to, and that's why I say hypnosis is a choice. Choose to not overthink it. Choose to just go with the flow and enjoy.
One of the things that I will share with you is that I have suffered from depression and anxiety for quite a while. When I come home, that my mind goes into this desire for connection, this longing for belonging. And so your files give me a respite from that. And when I originally did them, and most of the times when I do them, I am wearing a catsuit. I have sensation on every part of my body from that, because that is my safe space. That is a hug over my entire body, and it brings me some peace. I'll sometimes add a hood with a blindfold to it, to where I have no sense of anything except the suit on me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the headphones are inside that hood, it just magnifies everything.
Yes. Anyone listening to me should always wear their headphones for the best experience. And you do set the stage for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely do, but you still are struggling to go under.
However, I will tell you something that happened this past weekend, because unfortunately I don't get a chance to play with partners a lot. So sometimes I will do self-play, where I'll figure out some way to either through carabiners or whatever, create a bondage scene for myself. And I did do that, and I put one of your, actually it was your Bound to Obey file in my head while I was doing it.
Wow. Okay.
And it helped me get to a different place than I would have if I was just up there by myself listening to music. Because as you talked about the different parts of the body that you bound with your beautiful tight rope, I was feeling that because I was already bound in a certain way anyway. And I just allowed that to take over the scene, to where your voice was the dom in this particular case.
Mm-hmm.
And just a different way of using it, but it was really nice. And I got through the entire file and was like, I don't want to wake up. Don't do that. But every time that you have a snap, I could feel a shiver go through my body.
Love that.
And I love snaps. I got to tell you, I love snaps. I think it's so amazing, the feeling you have with that. And
I'm a fan of snaps as well.
yes, you are.
I've enjoyed hypnosis myself. So yes, snaps feel good inside the head.
You don't use a lot of ambient noise or music in your files. It is strictly your voice. And I know that some other erotic hypnosis people do put different sound effects in. What was the choice of going with just your own voice for that? Was it just a style, or?
It's not, I would say that I haven't really fully explored playing with audio that much or background noises. I
Mhm.
do use binaural. I do
Mhm.
use isochronics. Uh, so you must be aware that I do use some,
Mhm.
but like actual like musical backgrounds, like the way that others have.
Mhm.
Um, I've thought about using it in the past. It's not a choice not to, but uh, my voice is always the best thing to focus on. Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
I have to ask, because you come up with such amazing scenarios, are you kinky in your personal life?
It's just a kinky experience whether or not there is sex involved.
Mhm. Well,
Mhm.
to me, the beauty is being in the moment. I don't
Yes.
care about the sex. I care about that drug of not having to think about what's ahead or what's behind, but just being in that moment.
Yes. Definitely. Connecting with somebody. And you know what? I love eye contact for sure during those experiences.
That's just simply beautiful to even think about. I got lost there myself. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take a break, and when we come back on What Women and Other Wonderful Humans Want, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the new things that Jacqueline Powers has in store for all of us when we return. Welcome back to the program. John, also known as Hi There Catsuit, joined by Jacqueline Powers, who is celebrating, wow, 10 years of doing beautiful things on YouTube to get into people's minds. Could you ever imagine 10 years and what was it that I read? 17 million views just in your early years? That must be incredible.
It is incredible, and I could not have imagined, and it's like, where did the time go? Um, 10 years, that's a big chunk of life and time. Um, yeah, I'm amazed by it all myself.
I will tell you that coming back as you are now, after being away for a little while, you have come back at a time when the world needs you most. We live in a society right now that people need to be able to get away from the chaos that's going on around them.
True.
And I don't know if that played a part in you deciding to do new files and things, but I will tell you that the gift that you give people right now, the ability to not think about all the chaos and, as I say, the tornadoes in one's head, is the right thing at the right time. Did you have any comprehension of that when you came back?
I I had a hint of it that I mean, how could I not? I was totally aware of it, just like the world was, how awful things had become.
Mhm.
So, it just and like I mentioned, I had emails coming in and people were pleading and asking me to come back, but uh, it was also a slight awareness of how much turmoil was going on and people needing an escape from that, needing some peace because every day just felt like it just was being robbed from them.
And you use the term, and the term is used about your files of erotic hypnosis. But I always, just like kink, erotic is something that goes through the mind. It's not about the destination. It's always about the journey. And I think that's what I love about hypnosis is the journey is so much a part of what it is. And by the time you get to a destination, if that is part of the file, or that is a part of the story. The steps to get there is the beautiful part.
Yes, agreed. Definitely.
When you look at making a file about a certain topic, is there somebody in mind that you have when you do that file for YouTube or now your Patreon channel? Is there someone that you're talking to?
I'm always talking to the listener. If you're asking if I have someone in particular in my life or I've talked to that I think of, sometimes I do, but I like my my files, my hypnosis to feel that I'm speaking right to the person, I'm speaking with them, not at them.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm trying to avoid just saying words out onto a microphone. I want it to feel, because for me, hypnosis has always felt like a mutual experience. So when I speak on the microphone or when I'm recording, I don't exactly see the person, but I feel them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel their presence with me. And so when my audience, I'm speaking to them, I like to feel that they're there listening. And that's why I like to make it an intimate feeling to each of the files, almost to the point that we're together, even to the point of feeling like we're in bed together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I have a file recently where I'm basically telling them to imagine me there in bed with them. So that's what I aim for, is that intimacy, that closeness, and making them feel that I'm with them right there.
Give us a little bit of the behind the scenes. When you are there with your microphone, do you set up a certain ambiance or vibe that allows you to get that connection with your listener? Or do you just close your eyes and let it go?
I like to sometimes, often enough, I'll set the mood for myself to tune into that mood. Even for this interview, I'll just put on music. And so there's some artists. I just love some artists. Their music puts you in the zone and in the mood of being hypnotic. And I don't know, maybe it's a certain rhythm or a beat, but I'll listen to some music. I do have these lights. I got these nice little lights that change colors. So when I'm in the mood, I'll play with the lights that are in my room right now to change it up. So, if I feel particularly, mistressy, hot, sexy, I'll set maybe red lighting, or I'll just let it just do automatically switching between lighting. And I don't know, it just sends a nice magical little scene for me to record to.
Now, this is just the silly part of me asking this question. So when you feel mistressy, do you have to be mistressy? Do you have to get yourself into a mistressy type either outfit or massive mindset? Have you teased your hair in a certain way?
Maybe I'll sit in my undies and just record like that. Just completely comfortable, maybe I'll do that. But mistressy, it's me, it's who I am. And it's like, and I know you put on your catsuit. It's okay. Me, it's just who I am. So whether or not I'm dressed like normal layman or regular clothing, or I get dressed up, the mistress is there regardless.
But here's the reason I asked that, and I was asking it half jokingly, but the other thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that when you do this, you are doing it for you as much as you're doing it for a listener. I mean, you have to, as a human, get joy out of doing this for you.
Yes. It's a mutual experience. I enjoy it so much. And when I say mutual, I mean it is mutual. I when I'm really into it, I'll go into an altered state myself of it feels like a hypnotic state where I've tuned down my own inner thoughts, or I've tuned out the world, and it's just me and my subject, or me and the microphone. I will tune out everything and just be in the zone.
Where can people find you? We'll put the links in the show notes, but where are the places that people can find you and learn more about you and your files?
Well, obviously I am on YouTube. There's my channel. My handle of Jacqueline Powers, or Miss Jacqueline Powers. You know how to find me there. Patreon, my links are on my YouTube videos. But my Patreon is at patreon.com/Jacqueline Powers, and also on Twitter.
And your Twitter account has the coolest handle of all.
Of course, isn't that awesome? Back when I got it, I knew that was going to be the best handle, so I went ahead and I grabbed it up.
Share with our audience what it is.
My Twitter handle is at YouTube Hypnosis.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Well, Jacqueline, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I'm just so blown away by your kindness, your genuineness, and the fact that I could just drift away while hearing you talk for much of the show. And I'm somewhat jokingly happy that in no time did you say the words bound to obey or snap. Otherwise, I may have had to stop the interview right in the middle.
I'm so glad I didn't say that. I could have.
So instead of saying goodbye, should you wake us all up?
Okay. So 1, drifting towards wakefulness. 2, more and more. 3, almost there. 4 and 5, wide awake.
What an amazing story with Jackie Powers, and so amazed by her sheer kindness and talent. And I encourage you all to enjoy what she does. Go to her YouTube channel, which is under Jacqueline Powers, and you'll get a taste of what she does. And then please support her on Patreon, because the work that she does is absolutely phenomenal, and you'll get to enjoy the newer files as well as some files that you may not be able to get on YouTube, because we kind of know what YouTube does these days, don't we? Hope you enjoyed this Friday edition of the show. Until then, I'm John, also known as Hi There Catsuit. I hope I've earned the privilege of your time, and I remind you to always remember consent and to love each other always.
What Women and Other Wonderful Humans Want connects with you. We invite you to follow us on social media. Check us out at What Women Want P1 on Twitter, What Women Want Podcast on Instagram, and for our kinky friends on FetLife at WWW Podcast. This has been a presentation of Dating Kinky. Kinky done differently.